They say some places are better left untouched, forgotten by time. There are stories about the woods, about things lurking in the shadows that no one can explain. One of those places is a cabin deep in the forest, a place where those who enter never return the same. It was supposed to be a weekend getaway for a group of friends, a cabin far from the noise of the city, surrounded by nature. But what they didn't know was that this cabin had a dark history, one that had been waiting for someone to unlock its secrets. The story begins with 5 friends: Anna, Mike, Jason, Sarah, and Rachel. They were excited to spend the weekend away, far from their daily lives in the peace and quiet of the forest. The cabin they found online seemed perfect, cozy, rustic, and isolated. It was everything they had wanted. They arrived late in the afternoon. The sun was already sinking behind the trees, casting long shadows across the forest floor. As they unpacked and explored the cabin, strange things began to happen. Anna noticed the old photographs on the walls, faded black and white pictures of the cabin from decades ago. But in each photo there was a figure in the background, distant, watching. Anna shrugged it off at first, but as the night went on, things became harder to ignore. Sarah heard footsteps upstairs when no one was there. Jason's flashlight kept flickering, even with fresh batteries. Mike found old symbols carved into the wood beneath the kitchen table, symbols that none of them recognized. But what really set them on edge was the journal Rachel found tucked away in the nightstand. The cover was worn, the pages yellowed with age. The last entry, written in shaky handwriting, sent a chill through the group. The cabin watches. It knows you're here. You can't leave. That night, the terror began. One by one, the friends were woken by the same sound, the faint creak of footsteps outside their rooms. But no one was there when they checked. Jason swore he saw something standing at the edge of the woods, just beyond the window. A figure in the same spot as the one in the old photographs. Panic set in. The friends decided to leave, but when they tried to start the car, the engine refused to turn over. They were stranded, trapped. As the hours passed, the cabin seemed to come alive. Doors slammed shut on their own. The temperature dropped. Whispers echoed through the halls, though no one could find their source. Then in the middle of the night, Sarah vanished. Her bed was empty, the covers pulled back as if she had simply gotten up and walked out. But she was nowhere to be found. The next morning, they searched the woods, calling her name. No trace, no footprints. It was as if she had never been there at all. And then they saw it. Her face, pale and hollow, staring back at them from one of the old photographs in the cabin. That's when they realized the cabin didn't just trap them, it consumed them. One by one it would take them, and once it had them, they would be trapped forever. Desperation gripped the group. Mike tried to break the windows, but the glass wouldn't shatter. Jason grabbed an axe from the shed, but as he swung at the door, the wood seemed to heal itself, as if the cabin were alive, refusing to let them go. Anna found herself drawn to the journal again. As she flipped through the pages, a new entry appeared, written in real time. "It's too late for you now. The cabin has chosen. You belong to it." Jason, losing control, stormed into the woods, determined to find help. But as he ran, the forest seemed to close in around him, the trees twisting and shifting. No matter which way he turned, he always found himself back at the cabin's front door. He fell to his knees, realizing the truth. There was no escape. By the third night, only Anna and Mike remained. They barricaded themselves in the living room, praying for daylight. But when the first rays of sunlight streamed through the window, they realized they were no longer alone. The shadows of their missing friends stood in the doorway, pale and cold. their eyes empty. Anna screamed as Mike was pulled into the darkness. She ran to the journal, desperately trying to find a way out. But the pages flipped violently on their own, stopping on a final entry that hadn't been there before. The cabin always wins, and now it has you. The cabin door slammed shut. The last thing Anna saw before everything went black was her reflection in the window. But it wasn't hers anymore. It was the figure from the old photographs, smiling back at her. The cabin had claimed its final victim. Some places are cursed, feeding on the souls of the curious, and once you enter, you may never leave. So the next time you think about a cabin deep in the woods, remember, you might not be the only one staying there. If you like the story, subscribe and share for more chilling stories like this.